What's going on, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. And today we're going to be doing a quick review on the iPad 7th generation. Let's get into the video. First off, taking a look at the design of this iPad, you might consider it to be a little bit of a more old school design, considering we're seeing a lot more of these sort of bezel-less devices. So obviously the new iPad Air, iPad Pros, even the iPhones, and a lot of the Android phones nowadays have almost bezel-less displays, and you can see there's some pretty chunky ones on both sides, on pretty much all sides of the iPad realistically. So if we look on the side here, if we want to grab focus, you can see your smart connector there, so that's, you can connect the smart keyboard to that, and this is the first generation iPad to have this. On this side here, we've got the lightning port and your speakers. God, it's hard to focus. Even with auto. Yeah, sorry, there we go. So you've got your lightning port and dual speakers. This doesn't have quad speakers like the Pros, but you got to keep the price down somehow, I guess. There is your volume rocker, and on the top you've got your sleep wake button, as well as your headphone jack, something rare these days. So, oh, you can see my face. Hello. Okay. So, on the front, you've got your Touch ID button right there, and if the iPad wants to rotate... Why does auto rotate not work when I want it to? Okay, hold on. Okay, you know what, this is just stupid. There we go, finally. Alright, so taking a look around the home screen of the iPad, you can see that it pretty much looks like any other iOS device, so it pretty much looks like all the iPads you'll see today. So on the side, you can choose to pin this to the side, or if you just want to swipe it away and have your other pages. So here you've got your widgets. So here I've got the shortcuts. So I've got it set to iMessage, YouTube, Discord, and a couple of shortcuts on the internet. I've got Pocket Casts, weather, and I've got a news panel there. You've got your default apps on the side. And on this page has some more of the default apps, and I've put all of my apps into folders. So I've got all my ones in that one, all my utilities, games, and my social media. And on the bottom, if you can see here, you've got some quick apps, I guess. I don't remember what this is called. And you've got your 3 most recently used apps. So in my case, it's YouTube Studio, Messenger, and YouTube. And speaking of YouTube Studio and YouTube in general, thank you guys so much for 100 subscribers. I never thought I'd get there. My goal was to try get there by the end of the year, and I didn't. So we're only 4 days into January, and having 100 subscribers is pretty good. So seriously, guys, thank you for that. I never thought I'd be able to reach that ever. So yeah, that was a good thing to wake up to find out I had 100 subscribers this morning. So sweet. Anyway, moving on from that. Let's take a look at the specs on this guy. So the specs on this iPad, or the model I have here, has the Apple A10 Fusion chip. So that, I believe, is a 6-core, quad-core processor, paired with 3GB of RAM, and this model here has 32GB of storage. However, you can get a version of it with 128 gigs. And there was also a version of this with LTE, or cellular connection, but that's like an extra... well, like $150 that I'm never going to use. So I didn't opt for that one. And yeah, it's just really not worth it. The front camera is a 1.2 megapixel camera. And on the back, you've got a 8 megapixel rear-facing camera. And I forgot to mention this on the back. You've got your second microphone. You've got Apple logo and branding for the iPad. Now, in terms of accessories you can get for this, just give me a second. There we go. You might want to pick up a case for it if you want to protect it. So this doesn't have a screen protector on there. I do need to get one. And these cases will work with the 7th gen iPad and the new 8th gen. I ended up getting the 7th because the 8th wasn't out when I got this, so we'll keep that on display right there so I don't have to hold it all the time. You got your Touch ID fingerprint scanner on the front. This has a 10.2 inch 2160 by 1620 Retina display. This is an IPS panel, and it looks pretty good compared to my Nokia 6.1 here. It actually, like, when you don't use the blue light filter, this display is actually a lot cooler, so it's a little bit more in the blue tone compared to the iPads. Like, if you look at the whites, it might be a little bit hard to tell here, but the whites on the iPad screen are definitely a lot warmer than on the Nokia 6.1, so in my opinion that makes it a little bit easier on the eyes, but it doesn't really matter. It's still a decent looking panel. Now, it's not laminated to the glass. There is a bit of an air gap, which you be able to see a little bit more on the silver and gold versions of this iPad. And yeah, so you do get quite a bit of glare, as you can see. If I just shake around the iPad a bit, you can see basically it's basically like a mirror almost. So moving on from that, iOS 14 is the software that this is running. Now, iOS 13 was a big jump in the iPad, in the lifespan of the iPad, and iOS 14, or iPadOS 14, is kind of just icing on top. So, you can see here the new widgets that they added actually add quite a bit of flexibility to the way you use the iPad. So, in my case here, I already told you about the widgets I have. Before, I don't remember what this was. I think I just had a battery shortcut and I think I just had a battery shortcut and my tasks, which I ended up removing from the iPad because for some reason the task app I use doesn't sync over from an Android phone to the iPad. So I'm not quite sure what's up with that, but it doesn't matter. iOS 14, in terms of performance, this is pretty smooth. This is the lowest end of the chips that Apple currently manufactures, I guess. You could consider the A12 being the lowest end that they manufacture as of right now, but they still manufacture the iPod Touch 7, which still rocks an A10 chip. However, that one's only dual core compared to however many cores this has. So, would I recommend buying this iPad here in 2021. I was about to say 2020. Not this one specifically. The 8th gen's just come out, and for the same price, you'd be better off getting the 8th gen model. The only difference is that it comes with a Lightning to USB-C cable in the box, and instead of the A10, it has the A12. So you're getting quite a bit of a performance boost, making it actually not the worst iPad in Apple's lineup, as the worst iPad would technically be now the iPad mini, since it has the least amount of features to it, even though it does have the laminated display. Now, once again, I did mention the smart connector, so you can connect the keyboard. I don't think I'm going to get the keyboard for this. The first party Apple one's just okay. The price, it's not really that good of a feeling keyboard. If I were getting a keyboard for this, I'd recommend going for the, the Logitech Combo Touch, which has a case and then a detachable keyboard with trackpad in it, and it still uses the smart connector. So I'd recommend going for that if you're going to go get a keyboard. It's not too much more than the official one, and it's a much better experience considering iOS 14 can now accept using keyboards and mice. And using a mouse on the iPad is, I'm going to call it okay. It's not as natural as using it on a Windows computer or Mac, but it's probably about right for a tablet. Like, I tried using a mouse on my phone, and this probably feels a little bit more natural than that, probably because of the bigger screen, but in terms of the mouse functionality, it's not too bad. So, for the pricing of this iPad specifically starts at 600 New Zealand, and it is a bit on the expensive side. However, you are getting Apple quality, I guess, if that's something you want to consider, and you're getting decent performance, and with that 8th gen that's just come out for the same price, you're getting better performance. So if you're going to pick up an iPad, I'd recommend picking up that 8th gen. The iPad mini really isn't worth it anymore, and between the Air and the Pro, it's kind of on what you prefer, but I'd probably go for the Air over the Pro. So that's going to do it for me for today's video. If you guys did enjoy this, remember to hit that thumbs up button or subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. Catch you guys later. Peace out.